Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Making with the Manufacturers. So we are in this paper bin right now, and last week we did Cocoa Vanilla Studio, so I'm going to flip past that, and then the next bits in my stash looks like Cosmo Cricket. Let's see, is this Cosmo Cricket? What is this? No. This is Creative Imaginations. Okay, so here are my Cosmo Cricut papers. They are definitely cream based. So this one is called Sea Garden, Just Keep Swimming. And then this green on the other side, Tube Socks. And then a Scantron on this side, gray and cream grid, and then some funky arrows on this side. We have cassette tape and then funky dots on this side. I have two of those. We have paper airplanes and then funky dots green on green. And then another one of those striped papers with the Scantron. I have number 2 pencils and some lined paper. Here's another page of those funky arrows. Oh, a couple of them. Got a couple of those funky arrows and the grid, and then more paper airplanes, and then those circles with the lines. So yeah, so this is definitely, I don't know how to say it, definitely feels a little bit more grungy as opposed to kind of light and bright. But it does have cream and this gray in it. So I think I can definitely do something with this. So let's figure out the papers together and then we can move on. All right. So this is absolutely gorgeous. Let's see, I'm probably not going to use this as a Scantron, but I do love the bold stripe, so I'm going to pull that out. Probably won't use these. I'm going to, this gray matches, so I'm going to pull that one out. I'm going to use this notebook paper definitely as a base. Oh, I've got a couple of these. I think I'm going to use these 4 papers right here. And they're all from The Boyfriend. How old are these papers? 1996, 2009. Oh, the Forest Stewardship Council. So maybe it is 1996, 2009. Oh, 2009. 1996 is the Forest Stewardship Council, but the papers are from 2009. Okay, so let's see what I can do. All right, guys, so I am starting off with these papers, and I actually went to my stash and pulled in this sheet of orange, kind of rectangularly, whatever you want to, rectangularly. Whatever word you want to make up and use in there, you just pick the one you like the most. So I went ahead and pulled that out from my Amy Tangerine stash, and I decided that I wanted that little bit of a contrasting color between the notebook paper and the grid paper. And what that does is it really makes that notebook paper kind of pop off the page. And I'm glad that I did that. For one, I really like that pop of color. And for 2, this layout ends up being not very embellished and kind of a straightforward, just a paper layout. Now, you guys know that I have no problems doing that every so often in my albums. And you know it's because it gives your eye a break. It gives your albums a break too, especially if you are like me and your albums are 5 or 6 volumes for a single year. It's funny because when I first started scrapbooking, I had multiple years in one album, and now one album can't even contain a month sometimes. So it's all about what works for you. So this is a photo of me with a mosquito bite on my face. We were sitting outside in the backyard like we like to do, and that sucker came right up and sucked my face. Not necessarily a fun time. So I took that photo. Pretty sure I sent it in our family group chat, or as our group chat is called, Fambly, and our group chat is called Fambly because when my dad and mom were married, kind of early on in their marriage, my dad and my grandfather tied one on together with some beer and put his arm around my grandfather and said, "Pop, am I family yet?" So family has stuck around. It has kind of morphed into what we call each other, the family. So there it is, another little reverse keyword for you, which started out with my dad. Now these kind of arrow type things, I am fussy cutting out of my page, and I am going to use them to just kind of decorate in a diagonal fashion. Now, I have this long one, and it is going to go across the color bits here, and then the shorter ones will go in the lower left-hand corner and in the upper right-hand corner. And that's going to give me a diagonal line of embellishment, even though there isn't a whole heck of a lot of embellishment. Now, to make this a little bit more interesting, I am going to place these things up on pop foam. That way it'll give me a little bit of depth, a little bit of texture on the page, since this is a very, very flat layout otherwise. Now, if you saw a few seconds ago, I am using my really old Making Memories eyelet setting mat. And it definitely has eyelets. It has been set with eyelets. It's got like little eyelet indents all over it. I also have a newer one that I've put away because I had both of them sitting out here on my desk and I didn't really need both of them at the same time. So I put that off as well. Now you might be thinking, Sandy, you use a self-healing cutting mat as your surface. Yes, I do. Could I have cut directly on it? Yes, I could have. But for some reason, I like this more of a surface to work on and kind of like a measuring tool and a how to keep things in line kind of tool, rather than a cutting mat kind of tool. So if that makes me kind of a tool, I mean, who knows? But that is what works for me. So I am going to use my pen blade right here to do a little bit of fussy blading, as my friend Erica likes to call it. Now I am going to trim off the edge right there because I do want it to kind of come in from both angles of the page instead of just either the top or the bottom. And what that's going to do is really reinforce the fact that this is a diagonal line of embellishment where it's coming from both the upper right and the upper top right. Does that make sense? It just feels more diagonal to me doing it that way. You might be thinking, Sandy, you are a crackpot, and you very well might be right, but it does make it feel that way to me, so that's the reason why I'm doing it. Now I am taking these pop foams. These are from the dollar store. I'm not sure which dollar store it's from. My friend Amber hooked me up with them because I couldn't ever find them in my dollar stores, and I didn't have the dollar store around me that it was. I think it was Dollar Tree. But I do have a Dollar Tree now close to my work, so I probably should go check it out and see if they have it. Need to do that. Anyway, I am cutting those bad boys in half. Since my pieces are a little bit skinnier than the width of the pop foams, and I'm just going to make sure that I place them all over the foam or all over the back of the pieces, so my pieces aren't kind of falling down and leaning down. Now, my lighting on this bad boy keeps changing, and I think it has to do with the pink matte, actually, because that is what, like, it depends upon how much light is shining through, how much I'm blocking my overhead lights. So that's why the color goes in and out. It's not like somebody's turning on and off the lights or anything weird like that, or the lights aren't being moved. It's literally just me moving over top of the pink matte. So now I am going to use these Doodlebug letter stickers to spell out the word Skeeter. And if you've never called a mosquito a Skeeter, I'm sorry if you've never heard of that. But again, it's a Skeeter. So that is going on the page there. And then I'm going to go into my stash to find some letter stickers, and I'm happy to find some October Afternoon letter stickers that have cream on them, so I can spell out Bit by Skeeter. And then I was trying to figure out if I wanted to add that thing in or not, and then I'm going to pull out some kind of grungy, vintagey, October Afternoon-y ephemera, and I'm going to first I'm going to try book plates. I figured I was using an old paper line, so why don't I try using an old embellishment, but that I wasn't feeling the metal on this page at all, so I am digging through that kind of stuff, and I just ultimately decide I wasn't feeling the metal. That red leatherette frame I would have used there, but it was the wrong color red. It just clashed way too much. So now I'm going to dig out the kind of grungy embellishments, and I'm going to mess around with them for entirely too long. And I'm going to leave this in here. A lot of the times I feel like YouTube videos don't show the entire process, and there are times where if I'm trying to figure out something and I mess around with it for a ridiculously long period of time, I just cut it out. But this time I decided to let you guys see the entire process and what I'm picking through and what I think might be an option. I'm going by colors and kind of size, not necessarily the shape of the item. I'm just trying to figure out if there is a way I can fill in that place. Now, that last one that I just pulled off with the little gray kind of arrow and the label, I liked that, and I just kept messing. So I think if I would have stopped messing around, that would have made its way on there to be the final thing. But then I couldn't find it again when I was looking for it to recreate it. So I know it's in that pile somewhere, but at this point I was really frustrated with myself for taking such a long time and messing around with these pieces and moving on after I found something that would have worked, that I just put it all back and was done with it. Also, this tab that's sticking out of the top of the photo, never really liked it at the top of the photo, so push that off to the side because I didn't need that in my life either. So now I'm just looking at this and I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Like, I'm just not entirely sure where to move on from this. So I ultimately decide to add some enamel dots because that'll give me a different texture on my layout besides all of the paper that is on here. So I get those down there and I'm like, okay, so now I've got this. Now I definitely need to add some journaling. So I add the journaling, and I kind of fit in the last sentence of the journaling first, where it's, and then I was bit by a Skeeter, and it probably should say bitten by a Skeeter, but if I'm calling it Skeeter, I'm going to say bit by Skeeter. You know what I'm saying? So that is going to do it for this layout, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are encouraged to pull out your Cosmo Cricut if you still have any in your stash. And also remember to scrapbook those not so flattering photographs. The story is there if you choose to share it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again real soon for another video.